Not everything on the internet is meant to be found. Beneath its surface lies a shadowed landscape, disturbing, raw, and unforgettable. This video is a collection of some of the most disturbing content freely available on the open web. What you'll see is out there, open for anyone to discover, yet it feels like stepping into places you were never meant to go. I'm Raven Preaker. Welcome to Disturbing Corners of the Internet.
თუ კი ამ ვიდეოს უყურებთ, ეს არის ჩემი ბოლო სიტყვაობა. თუ ეს ვიდეო შეგხვდათ, ნიშნავს, რომ მე უკვე ცოცხალი აღარ ვარ, იმიტომ რომ თავი მოვეკალი და სანამ ამას ჩავიდანდი, მე მოვკალი დედა ჩემი.
Carmen Chachki, a talented and popular Georgian TikToker, captured the hearts of her followers with her entertaining and engaging content. This creator became well known for her travel vlogs, mukbangs, humorous skits, and music clips, amassing a dedicated fan base on the platform. However, recently my wife stumbled a shocking and haunting video on Carmen's TikTok account, which left her fans and followers in a state of disbelief and mourning. In this haunting clip, Carmen delivers a chilling message saying that if you're watching this video, she's no longer alive, having taken her own life before ultimately killing her mother. In the haunting final message left by Carmen Chachki, she not only revealed the tragic outcome of her life, but also delved into the story and the reasons behind her actions. Following her passing, Carmen's blog has become a collection of her thoughts, emotions, and experiences. This valuable resource provides a deeper understanding of the challenges she faced and the journey that led her to make the irreversible decisions that ended her life and that of her mother. In early 2024, a guy named Dachi created an anonymous chat group to cyberbully Carmen, his ex-love interest. They had a conflict they couldn't resolve, so Dachi held a grudge against Carmen for years. His plan was to take revenge on her and isolate her from everyone, hoping she would come back to him. Carmen admitted she had once isolated Dachi from his social circle, but not in the same way. Dachi also planned to make up for Carmen's lost income after she lost her job due to her employees' backbiting. Carmen has borderline personality disorder, which causes impulsivity, dependence on others, erratic behaviour, suicidal thoughts, and self-harm tendencies. Her friends seem to be part of the anonymous group, gaslighting her by first confirming the group's existence and then denying it, making her think she made it up. This led to Carmen attempting suicide 9 times, losing her job, being accused of stealing clients, getting beaten up, and having her intimate photos leaked. Carmen bought a flat, but it was in her mother's name. While Carmen was in Russia, her mother sold the flat without her knowledge. Dachi stole some of the money to compensate Carmen for her job loss. Carmen tried to resolve the flat issues but failed due to company policy. She told her mother that if she didn't return the money by the end of the month, she would kill her. At the end of the video, Carmen shares her regret over how things unfolded, acknowledging that she had a sense of where it was heading and knew it wouldn't end well. This incident serves as a powerful reminder of the significance of addressing bullying. Confronting bullying is undoubtedly challenging. It's crucial to remember that no one deserves to be mistreated, humiliated, or made to feel small. It was just another morning for Maroon Ayub. Still in bed, he groggily checked his Discord messages, but what he saw next would haunt him forever. "I just slaughtered my entire family. I hope I made you laugh at one point or another. I will miss you all," wrote an online friend who went by the name Menhaz. He couldn't believe what he was reading. Was this some kind of dark joke? But Menhaz wasn't joking. The account sent photos, graphic, horrifying images of bloodied bodies lying lifeless on the floor. It was a moment of sheer disbelief for a group of gamers who had known Menhaz for years. They were members of a tight-knit community on a private server _perfectworldvoid_, an MMORPG they'd been playing together for years. What could they do from behind their screens, thousands of miles apart? For years, Menhaz had been a regular part of the community. A Canadian gamer who played as an elf priest, He was known for his trolling and dark humour, but recently his jokes had taken a sinister turn, talking about killing his family and using racial slurs. Most dismissed it as just another layer of his disturbing sense of humour, until now. I'm waiting for my dad to come home to kill him. The gamers realised the horrifying truth. This wasn't a joke. Menhaz was actively committing murder and documenting it online. Time was running out. One player, John, quickly created a private chat group rallying fellow gamers to act. They knew they had to contact the police, but they faced a major hurdle. They didn't know Menhaz's real identity or location. As Menhaz waited for his father to return home, he sent more gruesome photos to the group. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't save his father in time. 4 victims, Melissa Zaman, Moniruz Zaman, Momtaz Begum and Firoza Begum. By the time the police arrived at the house in Markham, Ontario, it was too late. 4 family members had been brutally murdered. The person behind the Menhaz account turned out to be 23-year-old Menhaz Zaman. To his online friends, he was just another gamer, a university student who played for hours on end. But underneath the surface was a deeply troubled individual. Over time, his humour had shifted from light trolling to disturbing confessions. He spoke of depression, self-hatred, and even plans to kill his family, plans that most of his friends thought were just another layer of his edgy personality. Determined to stop him, the group searched for clues. They tracked his IP address and tried to piece together any information that could lead the authorities to him. Despite being scattered across the globe, these gamers worked as one, desperate to prevent more bloodshed. Their efforts finally paid off. Police acted on the information and arrested Menhaz at the scene of the crime. But for his online friends, the trauma was far from over. During a recent sentencing hearing, the lawyer submitted a joint recommendation that Zaman serve life in prison with a 25-year period of parole ineligibility for the first-degree murders of Begum, Moniruz and Melissa. He said Menhaz should have a further 15 years of parole ineligibility for the second-degree murder of Momtaz, noting there were issues in determining if her murder was planned and deliberate. Menhaz won't be eligible for parole until he is 64 years old. He also has to submit his DNA to a registry, and will have a 10-year weapons ban should he be released on parole.
Oh my god!
It's kind of a time to not really know what to do, so.
I don't know what happened. At random too, why? I don't get it.
Don't have any answer. How old is Brian?
He's 19.
He's 19.
Okay, so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Warren Barnes, a 69-year-old homeless man, was a familiar figure in the downtown area of Grand Junction, Colorado. Often seen reading books while sitting on a chair near Monique's Bridal, a local wedding shop, he became affectionately known as the Reading Man by store owners. His passion for books and his gentle, quiet demeanour left a lasting impression on the community. Many merchants and employees from nearby shops extended small acts of kindness, offering him books, pastries, peaches and drinks, showcasing the mutual respect and care he inspired in those around him. Brian Cohee was 19 years old at the time of the murder, struggling with severe mental health issues and intrusive thoughts of violence. During his interrogation, he admitted to contemplating killing a homeless person or a prostitute, believing their absence would go unnoticed.
Really? So
Tell me about that and what you did then.
well, I was figuring the police don't. This is not to be taken offense, but police, they don't seem to care as much about high-risk individuals, homeless people, prostitutes, etc. So I was deliberately looking for someone who lived that type of life, and I found a homeless.
He would often drive around at night observing homeless camps. Diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 5, Cohee was later diagnosed with autism in 2019 after his mother sought help from the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. His troubling behaviour escalated in 2021 when he killed a cat and kept its head in his house for 3 days before disposing of it. Cohee's fascination with serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer earned him the nickname Dahmer among his high school peers, a dark moniker reflecting the disturbing trajectory of his thoughts and actions. On March 1st, 2021, at approximately 1:48 p.m., a chilling 911 call was made by Brian Cohey's parents, reporting a grisly discovery inside their home in Grand Junction, Colorado.
911 is John. What's the address emergency?
Hi, there is an emergency. I found something in my son's closet wrapped in a plastic bag.
Okay, what was it?
I think it's a human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
While cleaning their 19-year-old son's room, they uncovered decomposing human remains, a severed head and hands, hidden inside his closet. The police quickly arrived on the scene, where Cohey approached them without hesitation and confessed to the murder, calmly stating, "I've always wondered what murder felt like."
I murdered him.
With what?
A knife.
Why would you have done that?
I've always wondered what murder felt like.
In his initial statement to officers, Cohey disclosed the victim's name, Warren Barnes, the weapon he had used, a knife, and detailed the location of the crime. Cohey was immediately detained and brought to the police station for further interrogation, where he provided a disturbingly detailed account of the murder. He explained that on February 27th, he was driving around the city intentionally searching for a target. Spotting Barnes asleep on the ground, Cohey parked his car, put on 3 layers of gloves to avoid leaving evidence, and began stabbing the unsuspecting victim repeatedly with a knife. Barnes woke in panic, shouting, "What are you doing? Why? Why?" As Cohey continued the attack, making what he described as animalistic noises and growling throughout the assault. According to Cohey, these primal sounds were a natural part of what he referred to as the experience. After killing Barnes, Cohey went even further in his gruesome actions. He decapitated Barnes and severed his hands, placing the remains into plastic bags. He then transported the body parts back to his home, where he hid them in his closet. Following this, he meticulously cleaned the knife and his car to remove any blood evidence before going to bed as though nothing had happened. Cohey later admitted to feeling a twisted sense of satisfaction from the act, further revealing his deep fascination with serial killers, particularly Edmund Kemper, whom he compared himself to. In the following days, Cohey returned to the crime scene with the intent of disposing of Barnes's remaining body parts. He attempted to load the rest of the body into his car and dump it into the Colorado River. However, during this process, his car flooded, forcing him to abandon his plan. Ironically, when the police were called to tow his car from the water, they did not suspect him of any wrongdoing and allowed him to leave the scene. Cohey later admitted to taking photos of Barnes's body during the murder and keeping them for a short time before deleting them, claiming they were evidence. Despite his efforts, the photos were later recovered by authorities during the investigation. Cohey's chilling confession included statements that revealed his premeditated intentions and lack of remorse. He admitted to specifically targeting a homeless individual because he believed their disappearance would go unnoticed. He spoke candidly about his thoughts and actions, as if they were part of a dark experiment to fulfill his morbid curiosity about taking another person's life. Following his confession, Cohey was formally arrested and transported to the Mesa County Detention Facility. He faced multiple charges, including first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. The murder of Warren Barnes by Brian Cohey is a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. On that fateful day, a series of unfortunate events unfolded that led to one of the most tragic incidents in commercial diving history. What began as a routine operation would soon descend into chaos due to a combination of unforeseen circumstances, mismanagement, and critical oversights. At approximately 2:40 p.m, a team of 4 divers was working inside a hyperbaric chamber positioned over a 30-inch riser. The chamber was pressurized to 1.45 bars to facilitate their operation. Shortly thereafter, a 5th diver arrived at the chamber to deliver a wrench to the team. Within minutes, a catastrophic error occurred. A plug in the riser was deflated, causing a massive pressure differential known as delta P, which violently sucked all 5 divers into the riser and the connected pipeline. In the immediate aftermath, the situation became dire. The suction ended within seconds, leaving the hyperbaric chamber empty. A rescue diver, upon entering the chamber, observed that the water level in the riser had risen to meet the lower level of the chamber. An alert was raised, and rescue efforts commenced. However, the chaos of the moment was compounded by confusion and a lack of clear protocol. Nearly an hour later, faint banging sounds were heard from inside the pipeline. Miraculously, one of the divers, Christopher B., managed to surface within the riser. He was injured but alive and made desperate attempts to communicate by tapping and shouting.
Alright behind you? You're right behind me? You don't know when to come up? Come on, all I mean, let's figure it out. We gotta go, we gotta start moving.
By 4:45 p.m, rescue divers reached him and pulled him from the riser. Despite his ordeal, Christopher was coherent enough to ask if he needed to complete decompression stops. Tragically, his question was dismissed without proper evaluation, though he had spent over 100 minutes at a depth requiring significant decompression time. It was a testament to his luck, and perhaps the unique pressure conditions, that he avoided decompression sickness. Christopher shared harrowing details of his experience inside the pipeline. He revealed that 3 of his colleagues were alive, trapped in a large air pocket deep within the pipeline, while the 4th diver was in a smaller air pocket closer to the riser. With this critical information, the surface team scrambled to organise a rescue. However, the rescue efforts were plagued by inefficiencies, delays, and poor planning. Initial attempts to send rescue divers into the pipeline were hindered by inadequate equipment and an unclear strategy. Divers ventured only a short distance into the pipeline before retreating, citing safety concerns and the limitations of their gear. By the time commercial diving equipment arrived on site, precious hours had already been lost. Meanwhile, more banging sounds were heard from within the pipeline, a haunting reminder that time was running out. Despite the arrival of advanced equipment and experienced divers, the situation took a disastrous turn. The pipeline's client, along with the incident command team, imposed a ban on further diving operations, fearing the potential for another Delta P event. Instead, they opted to deploy remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, and crawlers to inspect the pipeline. This decision, while cautious, proved fatal for the trapped divers. As the hours dragged on, the pressure inside the pipeline remained dangerously high. In a critical misstep, the blind flange on the B5 riser was removed without fully understanding the implications. This action caused the water level in the B6 riser to drop by approximately 11 meters, rapidly depressurizing the pipeline. The 4 trapped divers, who had endured over 14 hours in high-pressure conditions, were subjected to an uncontrolled decompression. Such a sudden pressure drop is lethal, and it ensured that no one could survive the ordeal. The final moments of the divers remain a tragic mystery. The last banging sounds were heard near the B5 riser at around 2:30 a.m, signalling their desperate attempts to communicate. By 3 a.m, the crawler deployed from the B6 riser encountered obstacles and could not proceed further. At 6 a.m, the removal of the B5 blind flange marked the point of no return. The diver's fate was sealed, not by the initial accident, but by the series of misjudgments that followed.